Oh, we're live on Facebook.
Hey.
Surprise, surprise. Hi, everybody. This is Rebecca Kosis, General Manager at CHEA of California, and I'm really excited to have two very dear friends with us today. I'm excited for you to meet them. This is Jeff and Kerry Byers. They have been serving with CHEA for so long. The Byers serve as our High Desert Regional Advisory Board members. So if you're joining us from the High Desert area, then Jeff and Kerry are your contacts. They're your boots on the ground. And if you need homeschool help, they're going to be there to answer any questions you have and to help you out. I'll put their email address in the comments below so that you can just tuck that away and you can shoot them an email, and I'll let you guys connect. But before we get into that, I want you two to talk a little bit about yourselves and your homeschool history and how you help homeschoolers there.
Well, our journey started back when I think CHEA was about 4 years old, and we attended our first conference. And my son was 4 also at the time, and I was looking into homeschooling. Someone had told me that you were a great place to go to. And so we went there, and I went to all the how to teach reading, how to 101 type topics. And I made Jeff go to all the legality stuff to make sure we do everything legally correct. And so that's where our journey began. And
so you said you said we go to CHEA, and I love that you said that. But let's explain what going to CHEA means.
Yes. So CHEA was our, and still is our home base for home education. They teach and train parents from how to teach a subject to lots of curriculums and things that are available for you. They also taught on marriage and family and the value that we have as a family. Just so many things I've learned wonderfully in wonderful ways at the CHEA conventions every year. Huge exhibit hall to explore and hands-on and touch the curriculums and see if it's a good fit. Workshops that talk about how to use their curriculums. Just so many things over the years. It's been a blessing.
Yeah, and so that's kind of a CHEA community-wide thing. When someone says, hey, I'm going to CHEA,
right,
really what they're saying is going to the convention.
Right,
yes.
Exactly. CHEA is so many more things than just the convention, but that's typically what most people see. The face of CHEA is the annual convention. They've been doing it for 37 conventions now consecutively, and we just had an honor to be able to serve with CHEA at those conventions since the early 2000s, and both here locally in Southern California and up in the Bay Area. So CHEA has been a phenomenal organization to help us personally in home educating our children. It's been such a blessing to be a part of them.
And so, how many years have you been homeschooling?
So we always wrestle with this fact because our oldest is almost 40. And our youngest just graduated in 2019. And so he's 18, almost 19. And so if you go compulsory school age, maybe 34 years. If you start, a preschool, definitely 35. So a very long time because our kids are spaced out. We have 5 kids ranging from 40 down to the 18. And it's been a journey and a long journey, longer than most people because our kids' age groups are spread so far out. But we were committed to that when we started going to CHEA. And our first son was in a one-room schoolhouse. So we'd take him in and out, homeschool him, and then bring him back. And kind of like a little house in the prairie setting. We knew the teacher well. She was a family friend of Jeff's, a retired school teacher that started at a church. And,
nice.
And we just kept, feeling in our heart we were to homeschool, even though that was a great setting. It was just in our heart to do, something that God just put in us to do. So we continued on, and I'm so grateful. I wouldn't change that time with our family. The values and things you communicate to your kids is far more than curriculum. You obviously can have them tested and evaluated. We did all those in the early seasons of our journey in homeschooling and found out how well they were doing. I thought, well, this is dumb. I don't need to really be testing. So we would do some off and on, but it's just, you can see the progression from their schoolwork from each grade level to grade level. They're advancing forward.
Mhm.
And I remember with our first son, he thought, you just gave me A's because I'm your son. And so we took him down and signed him up for the junior college, and he made straight A's there too.
Mhm.
So it's not, you just teach them till they know the subject.
Mhm.
You know,
Absolutely.
and that's what we do as homeschoolers. It's one-on-one. It's not like a classroom of a lot of kids where you got to move forward, even though some of the kids maybe are struggling and they're not able to go forward yet, or those that are really bright need to go forward sooner and they're bored. So it's really a unique opportunity to do home education.
So tell me how you help homeschoolers in the high desert area. So, and thank you for sharing about your homeschool journey. I loved hearing that. But, so what are you doing now? Your baby's graduated, and how are you helping homeschoolers there in the high desert?
I would have to say we have caught the vision of being homeschool evangelists. We're so sold on the process and what it means for parents to educate their children, not only the academic portion of it, but the life portion, the spiritual aspect of it all. And it's so valuable. Who knows their kids better than us, their parents? Who knows what they need, how they learn, and so forth. And so, you know, what we're doing now is helping others to find that vision, to figure out what it's about. And so we're still involved in the homeschooling aspect with a PSP and with support group and different co-ops and things that we do, not only just with those that are involved with our group, but all of the other PSPs and private homeschoolers in the high desert. We want to be there to support those homeschooling families. And we do that through the ministry that we provide.
And as a regional advisory board member for CHEA, we have the opportunity to tell people about the other great schools that are up here. There are so many wonderful organizations here in our high desert that are wonderful. I would recommend all of them to you. They're such a blessing. And the PSP is a private school satellite program. So it is a private program for those that want to teach Christianity in their beliefs or their values. And you can teach it in your curriculum and in every area, not just set on a sideline somewhere. And so that's what's unique about a PSP. And a lot of the groups I know, they barter, they work with you. Their finances are really cheap. It's not like a private day campus school where you're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars every month. It's not that way at all. You might spend a couple $100, $300 a semester, maybe. And even then, people barter. And for us, you pay what you're able to pay, even if it meant free.
Okay.
We want people to be able to be in Christian education.
You're there to see that that happens. That's wonderful. And a PSP is great for families who don't feel comfortable filing their own private school affidavit. They want a little more anonymity, or perhaps they want a little more accountability too. They would like someone to make sure that their students' records are kept current and accurately. So yeah, the PSP is a really great option for families. So, well, thank you for sharing that. So let's talk about what one of the big questions that we're encountering in our phone calls and Facebook groups is, what do I do if I'm just going to be homeschooling for a year or two? As soon as this COVID-19 is over, the pandemic is a thing of the past, they want to put their children back in traditional school. How do they make sure that their children will be able to integrate back into their classroom? They're afraid that their kids are going to fall behind, they're going to fail, you know. How do you address that?
You know, I think every year when I've homeschooled my kids, I always was very concerned that I would teach what they needed, what their abilities are, and to develop them for their lifelong path of learning. And I know that parents, we don't give ourselves enough credit. God did give us our kids, and He will make a way for us through maybe a friend. If you are stuck on a certain subject, you don't know if you can teach it. PSPs that offer co-op classes are available, and you don't have to necessarily be in a PSP. You could file your own affidavit if you would like to, your own PSAs if you'd like to, and still be a part of all these groups up here too. So there's opportunities like never before. When I started back in the 80s, there wasn't very much available up here in the high desert. Unless you belonged to a particular church, you couldn't belong to a school. We started a support group and lots of things developed over the years, but you have so much opportunity online. But don't be afraid, because God always promises he'll make a way. And it's a normal feeling that we're going to be inadequate. I think anyone feels that way when they're starting something new. Even if you've had the degrees behind you, you feel scared the first time you're stepping out to teach that subject or whatever it is. That's a normal feeling. And just go to God and ask him for help, and he will help you. He'll make a way. He'll bring people around you. Reach out to us. We can refer you to the different groups up here to get involved with the activities and sports and classes. So much is available to you now that like never before.
Yeah. I agree with that. On a different perspective, I think what we need to look at too is, as Kerry said, when we do new things, we're a little fearful of how it's going to turn out. Am I going to, as we talked earlier before our broadcast here, we don't want to break our kids, and what parents do. And so I think we need to look at some things. Number one, when we look at the statistics of homeschooling at large, you have to see that the statistics that we have found about homeschooling graduates and kids that have gone through homeschooling is that they do regularly, they do better in testing than their public school counterparts. Why is that? Well, it could be because the parents know them better than a teacher that just met them for that year. It could be that the parents, and nothing against public school teachers, they do an awesome job, most of them, and it's a difficult situation, and especially with everything that's going on now. And so if you're concerned about your children not getting behind or whatever, I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. Number one, because the stats that show homeschooling is successful. And the other thing is that the kids that are going to be doing whatever type of environment they're going to be in the public school system, we don't know what that's going to be, and we don't know how they're going to be impacted in their learning. So I don't think they have to worry at all about keeping their kids up to speed with their education. Plus, they get the added bonus of privately homeschooling and be able to integrate Christ in all that they teach.
I just want to share Noah Webster's original dictionary in 1828. It talks about,
Love that book.
Talks about, I know, me too. It talks about education, and the definition for education was the bringing up as of a child for instruction, your formation of manners, your disciplining, which is intended to enlighten the understanding, correct the temper, form the manners and habits of youth, and fit them for their usefulness in their future stations. This is really what we're wanting to do with our kids. We want them to be respectful. We want them to be honorable. When part of homeschooling is correcting the tempers, is teaching and training them on everyday life skills, how to survive, how we deal with a crisis in the family when something happens. What, all these things. That's real education, because that's what's going to help them in their future to be able to tackle a subject or whatever it might be. They're going to go into a field of work. These things are priority and important, and you as a parent have that ability to be there with them 24/7, to be able to help them and to train and educate them. With a teacher in the classroom, she gets a few hours a day, and she doesn't get to be in the home and correct things at home. And kids can be good for a certain amount of time sometimes, and they're different with someone else than they are with you, and all that scenario. So you are there to help and develop them to their best possible person that you want them to be.
Yes, and so many families, this has come at them out of the blue. They never once entertained the thought that they would be, homeschooling privately. And we just want you all to know that we've been praying for you, haven't we? We've been praying for these families that are surprised that they're here homeschooling and trying to navigate the ins and outs of how to do it. And we've been there. We had our first years already and remember the questions that we had, but we just want you to know that we're here to help you. We have been praying for you. We'll continue to. And Jeff and Kerry are there in the high desert. If you're out in that their neck of the woods. Yeah. So, well, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to put your phone number up here. I'm going to put your email address up.
Okay,
And you guys can exchange phone numbers with whoever you
sounds
want
great.
to. Yeah, but yeah, I'm
Email
sure
us.
there are those that are going to want to give you a call and need some personal attention.
Any questions?
And we're on your CHEA website, so they can find us there too. So
That's right. That's
they
right.
can easily get a hold of us.
On the about CHEA on our I'm sorry, yeah, about the staff, I believe it is. I'll put the link down there in our comments too. So, well, Jeff and Kerry, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us and to meet the Facebook community out here and let us introduce you. And I'm looking forward to the ministry opportunities that you're going to have as a result.
Amen.
Looking
That's
forward to
good.
meeting new people.
Yes.
Lord bless you in your journeys as you start this new adventure, maybe not wanting to, but it's what we have right now. And we're here to help you. In the
Yes,
name
we
of
are.
Jesus.
Yes, amen. All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and end our broadcast, but if you guys can hang out here just a minute longer. All right, goodbye, Facebook family. We'll see you again tomorrow at our next Tips at 3.